Hello everyone and welcome to 4KB Shorts Let's Learn with the Lynx Space Exploration Vehicle. The Lynx Space Exploration Vehicle is what KSP has always needed, a modular rover that doesn't look terrible and kind of works actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look here. Once it's installed, if you go down your left side, down to here, you see a section called Rovers. When you click on Rovers, these are all the parts that come with this particular unit. Now this is just called the Lynx, and there are, I guess you could say there are multiple versions, but if you have what you start with and what you end with, there are two versions. Or maybe four. It gets complicated. But if we take a look, we have the Lynx cockpit. That's where you're always probably going to start, is with the Lynx cockpit here. And it's just your standard cockpit. However, if you scroll down a little ways, you have the Lynx truck cockpit, which we'll just put on top of the other one. If it'll fit, won't fit. One behind the other? No. Okay, so wait, can we do it this way? Aha! So, it's a push me, pull you. And so as you can see, there's a slight difference between the two. One is flat in the front and one is extended. For the interiors, if you look at the interiors, the difference is if you like to look from the interior of a vehicle, the interiors are slightly different, and this one has an extended window so you can see the frame. This one, it looks more like the camera's sitting just outside the front window because it's in the same spot. It just doesn't have as much room. But for the purposes of this run, I actually really like... I really do like the truck one. I really like just how flat it is. It reminds me of a British lorry. I don't know, do you call them British lorries, or are they just lorries because they're British? Anyway, it reminds me of a lorry. It makes me happy. Now, this mod is not standalone. Luckily, over the years, as KSP has been updated, more and more people have tried to get each mod to work with every other mod, so each mod will have kind of an add-on or an extension or a part or a piece that can then be attached to another one. So in this case, you have the Convertotron. The Convertotron, of course, converts things to other things, usually ore and metal and monopropellant to liquid fuel oxidizer, and monopropellant. So you have a converter. You also have a crew cabin for your crew, if you like, as well as a cargo bay, which, much like the original cargo bays, as you open doors and close doors, you can put stuff inside. And then if you don't like the closed cargo bays, or if you just want an actual lorry, you have truck beds. And you can mix and match these to your heart's content. So we can take a truck bed, and then a cargo bay, and then, if I can find it, a crew cabin. And if we pull this forward a little bit, this can get very complicated very quickly. We have a fuel tank. Now, fuel tanks, of course, can be anything. Right now, it's liquid fuel and oxidizer, but we can change it to be liquid fuel, electric charge, monopropellant, or xenon gas. So if we configure it, now it's electric charge at 7,800. So you can alter that as you see fit. The other thing you can add on here, we have a mobile lab, so you're not by yourself. You can do some science if you want. And then it comes with its own solar panels, which happily sit on top like so, which is wonderful. The wheels come in two varieties, very simple varieties. So if we scroll back up, we have two varieties. We have the PA rover wheel, and they fit in these little sectionals here. So you do have to get it exactly right, otherwise it's not going to work. So this is one type of wheel. It's very low profile, sits right underneath the body. And then you have the Talon rover wheel, which sits a little bit. They don't really look like they sit proper with each other, but they do. I've had a rover use both of these. It doesn't give you a rat rod look, even though it probably should. But these ones are a little bit further out and they don't tilt. It actually warns you in the description. Beware not to flip it over, though. You can flip this guy over very easily, regardless of which wheel you use. So you got to be careful as you will. Now, the cool part about this is not only do you get wheels under here. So if we put a wheel under here, you also get other things. So if we look through here, we will get a Lynx EC canister. So basically it's a battery, or an electric charge canister, and it just fills in the gap. But that's not the only one. We also have, let's see, freight canister. So you can put some freight in there. And then we have fuel canister. You can put some fuel under there. So whatever you want to put under here, you can put under here. And then oddly enough, there's a couple of things. There's these, well, there are stabilization legs if you need those. Now these ones are interesting because they come with an add-on. So as you can see, once you put it in there, there's kind of a gap, kind of breaks the flow. But if you extend the model, no more breaking flow. So you have the extenders there. What else? Oh yeah, one last thing. We have these little guys right here. These are our... This one I don't think you can... No, you can change the model. There you go. These ones are just little thrusters. They're there so you can hop over valleys or things if you want to. If you need thrust on another planet, maybe to get over a hill or flip over or what have you. Honestly, having these on one side so you can flip your rover over. We're not going to go that way. So you can flip your rover over would be perfectly fine. So, how does it work? Well, let's put one together really quick. Let's trash all that mess. Let's put one together really quick and see how well they work. So, zoom way in. We'll go with, well, we'll make it a truck. A truck. Alright, put a truck there. And then we also have the flatbed ramp. So if we put this here, this one's interesting because you have the flatbed, which you can hide the rear. So now you have the rear is hidden. You can also hide the front, hide the sides. You can make it a flatbed. You can hide the front if you want to. And then, of course, with this one, you can say lower the ramp. Now the ramp is lower. Now that may look like it's a little bit low, but it's really not. It actually works really well. So let's go ahead and put a couple of rover wheels on here. If I can get this to work properly. Whoop. Now, like any vehicle, the longer they are, the more stable they are, but there's nothing wrong with a teeny tiny cute little vehicle. And just so we have some clarity and some electricity, we will go with, again, I have to find it, the EC canister. Now, I believe the EC canister can be recharged. There's also fuel cells that go underneath. I think it's one of these. Whoop, wrong button. Yeah, okay, so there's a fuel cell. It looks a little bit nicer. It looks a little bit cuter, like you got something going on under the hood. We'll just throw those on there. And then, of course, you always need a solar panel, which we can toss right here. And as you can see, you can put stuff inside if you want to. If you have an object or an item, what we put in there, maybe like a satellite dish. Wait, maybe not a satellite dish that big. So you take it like a satellite dish, and you can put it, should be able to put it, and this can get a little bit funky, but you can fit things inside your vehicle, so you don't have to worry about Kerbals putting things in there incorrectly. That is an option, not a requirement, but let's go ahead and take this guy outside and see how it handles. Alright, so here we are outside, and we're rolling already, so let's break up. So we have lights, of course, front and back. We can have tail lights. You can also turn off. You can also turn off your tail lights independently if you like, just like so. And headlights as well. And of course, you also have your cockpit crew cabin lights. So cabin lights are on. Nice bright cabin lights. Here we go. Okay, we go inside. So as I said, it's a little bit close camera-wise. If you look around, you can still see everything, but it's a little bit close. Having a little trouble with my mouse here. There you go. But we do have some fun internal stuff. There's a little cup of slurp something, and then a teeny tiny Kerbal. Looks like one of those little rubber stamps you get that you put on the end of your pencil. I guess Kerbal size, that would be about as big as it is, but you get a little Kerbal bobblehead. And there's some switches and buttons and things like that. So it's not, it's a little cramped, but it's not terrible. So if we head back outside, now this is a bug that does occur if you leave the interior view, you are way zoomed in. Yeah, there's probably a way to fix that, but I'm not going to bother with it. So if we turn off our brakes and we go forward, I like to turn off the steering of my rear motors, or rear wheels, there we go. Mostly because of that. Unfortunately, these are super duper easy to flip. They're super easy to flip. But what's great about it is you have the ability to build whatever type of vehicle or rover that you need, and it looks pretty much like a stock part. So if we turn off the steering, this won't help at all, but it makes me feel better to turn off the steering. You can also turn off the motors. It helps you keep your speed down. Maximum speed for this guy is about 35 meters per second. I believe that's the max speed I got him up to. You might go up to 40 if you push it. Oh, a little bit higher than 40 apparently. Yeah, but turning at the speed is not good for your health. Even braking at the speed can cause you some issues. So if that's what it's like on Kerbal, you have to imagine what it would be like on the moon. Still, rovers aren't really supposed to go that fast, so you really want to keep your speed kind of low anyway, because they are just kind of for transport around. Oh yeah, and the ramp. So as I said, it looks like it's really low, but it's not. It fits almost perfectly. So now you have a ramp and a place to put stuff if you want. But that's not all. I'm saving the best for next. So I'm actually going to see you guys back out here on the platform because I want to keep this a little bit of a secret until I can reveal it. So I'll see you guys back out here with the next version of this little guy. And here we are back out on the launch pad, and as you can see, we have forgone our wheels for something a little bit better. We have fans. We have lifting fans. Now, these can be configured in whatever way you want. There's one large one you can place on the back, or you can place a bunch of small ones along the side, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Now, as you can see, these are a bit far forward, and that's just because of the weight balance, but overall, the vehicle has actually been weighted really, really well. So, if we extend our flight wings, as it were, kick on our rather loud engines, and then we lift off. Now I do have a stabilization unit in here because it could use some love. It is a hovercraft. You do have to be very careful with any kind of hovercraft, but if we increase our speed, we can hover, and then we can lift up. Now, the highest I've been able to get one of these to go is about 20,000 feet. After about 20,000 feet, it loses vertical velocity, even if you're just going straight up. And so because of that, you can't really go any higher than that. But 20,000 feet is a pretty good height for a hovercraft. Now, as you can see, you kind of have to keep adjusting your motor a little bit to keep it running. But the bonus part about this is if you lean forward, I'll zoom out a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. If you lean forward and then adjust your speed, you can then move forward. Now, it's not a bug of the mod itself, but flying a hovercraft is extremely difficult because you don't have any forward thrust other than moving forward. A bit like flying a helicopter, I'm sure, except instead of the rotors moving for you, you have to move the entire craft, which makes it difficult when you're trying to land. Well, we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see if we can land on top of the VAB. Now, the problem is I have attempted this multiple times, and I can never get it right. I can never get it right. So let's see if now that I'm on camera, if I can finally do this correctly. And cut the engines. Boop. Close enough. Alright, so there it is. So yeah, this is an addition to that. So instead of just having wheels, or you can have wheels and lifting engines if you'd like. You can fly anywhere you want to on any planet with an atmosphere. The demo images show it working on Duna, but I've had experience on Duna where the atmosphere is not thick enough for things like this to work. But it really depends on how the mod works. If the mod works where it looks like engines and it just takes you X number of height off the ground, that's one thing, but this actually feels like it flies, like actually flies. So results may vary, but it'd probably be a really good thing here on Kerbin and other planets with atmospheres that you can use it on, so that you don't have to worry about driving places, or if there's a lot of water in your way, you can get to wherever you want to go. And of course, this lends itself really, really well to some other fun designs, which I'm going to show off here in just a second. So I'll see you guys back out here on, well, the runway over there, but I'll see you guys back out here. Alright, and here we are back out on the runway, and as you can see, as an homage to the classic KSP, this particular rover has the ability to go way above and beyond. And as a demonstration, we're going to go ahead and load up our wings. Now, prepare your ears. This does get loud for a couple of seconds. Actually, I wonder if backing away the camera might help. So we're going to back away the camera a little bit, see if we can get further away from the sound. That's a little bit better. Okay, we'll come back forward again and we should be able to hear it just fine. Okay. So that should be about as loud as it's going to get, I hope. If we kick on our engines, it's a little rumbly. Okay, and raise our gear. And now we can fly our space bus. Now, because of how big this is, it is hard to move, but it has very little to do with the actual engines. The engines themselves don't cause any kind of additional force that make it difficult to move. But as you can see, we can now move forward with this giant bus of a spacecraft, aircraft, which means if you needed to, there'd be no problem with building a large-scale vehicle that has cargo, that has crew capacity, that has everything that you need in order to explore either a Kerbin or any other planet. And there are multitudes of ways to build this. They also have extenders and benders, I guess you could say, the sections between bodies where you can bend. Not something you'd probably really want to put on a vehicle that flies, but you have those as an option. You can also make multiples of them, and there's linking and tow hooks that you can link and tow them together. And I think I'll demonstrate a couple of those before we're done with today's build. But one little aileron roll there just for fun. I don't think I'll be able to recover from that. Will I? Oh, okay. Gear down, speed up. Okay. Now, as you can see, it can take a beating. They do explode. They can explode. Like that. So they're not impervious to damage. But a demonstration of the wild and crazy things that you can do with the Lynx Rover. Let's take a look at a couple more parts and then we'll... And here we are with yet another version of the Lynx Rover. And as you can see, this looks more like the classic Rover that you might see in a film or even just actually playing the game. I added in the back end with some cargo in there, so you can see what that looks like with cargo being added in. And then, of course, I put a science module, a crew cabin, and in the front so we can look at some interiors as well. And then the extendy bendy bit in the middle there that connects the front and the back so you can have some bendiness to it. Also for scale, I put in some of these items. As you can see, this is the FLR10 RCS fuel tank. It is the smallest RCS fuel tank. As a matter of fact, this rover is so small that it basically fits inside of a standard fuel tank. So it is actually a much smaller rover than it might look to be on the outside, but that makes it much more transportable as well. It even fits inside, it was designed to fit inside some of the stock cargo like containers that come with the game. So it was built as a stock-alike part. Now if we take a look inside, so we have a front cabin. This is the extended cabin. It's got a fuzzy die. Not dice, just a fuzzy die. It does have the extended front, which of course does make it nicer to look through. Then if we head to the rear, this is going to be our this is our science module. Yes, this is our science module, I believe. And forgive me, I have a little bit of trouble with my mouse, but this is our science module here, a little very sciencey. And if we go one more over, this is our crew cabin, and our crew cabin can fit 2 Kerbals. So they do have interiors. You can look outside. Everything does look wonderful. We have ice cream with a K, and then there's science, and then there's something called ankle, and then there's an F there, so maybe food and ankles. Maybe frog ankles. I don't know what Kerbals eat. And then a Kerbal coffee cup just for fun. So if we head back outside, what we can see is as we move forward, we're going to move forward a little bit. As we move forward and we turn, now it's a bendy section. It's supposed to be a bendy section. It's a connector that looks like a bendy section. Let's find out if it actually bends. So the best way to do that is to turn off our steering on these rear wheels so they do not steer with the main body. Eventually. There you go. And then if we move forward and turn... Okay, so it does not bendy as I had originally been led to believe. However, it does look like it bends, and that's good enough, right? Fair enough. All right. So that is the Lynx service module, or the Lynx Space Exploration Vehicle. Excuse me, I had to look at the flag there in order to remember. The LSEV. It is available for download. It does work with 1.12, the latest version as of this date of Kerbal Space Program. I am currently running version 1.11, and of course it does work very fine with that as well, and it will expand and make it easier to work with your Kerbals. As long as you have all the mods that you need, that would include Kerbal Inventory System and Kerbal Attachment System. Both of those are very good. If you have any of the TAC life support or other life supports, it works with those as well. And then the future propulsion and all of those. So it is very mod friendly. It is a mod that is also mod friendly, but at the same time it doesn't get in the way of those mods. I really enjoy it. I really like the way it looks. I really like the way it handles, and the flight mode is amazing. And there will be a link down below for you guys to go and download it if you'd like to play it with your KSP. So once again, I would like to thank you all very much for joining me, 4 kilobyte short, on this Let's Learn with Kerbal Space Program and the Lynx. Wait, I gotta remember it. The Lynx Space Exploration Vehicle. I don't know why I was thinking service. The Lynx Space Exploration Vehicle. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys next video.